Hey everyone, I'm Emmett, General Manager of Solana Mobile. And based on what I heard backstage, it sounds like most of you either already own a Seeker or at least know what Seeker is. But for those of you that don't, Seeker is our definitive Web3 mobile device. We set out to build something that for people who really care about crypto but don't have access to the security that they need or the usability that they need or the access to apps that they need, we wanted to solve those problems for users. And so last time I was on stage, Secret had been announced, but we hadn't yet started shipping. And so I think at that time, there were understandably some open questions from the community. Could we deliver on this idea of a super seamless UX? Could we build hardware that people actually liked, that wasn't just a novelty? And would developers show up? Would there be apps that people actually wanted to use? It was a leap of faith, and 150,000 of you took that leap with us. And the response has been incredible. People love their Seekers. They love the peace of mind of having their assets protected by Seed Vault. They love the seamless, kind of magical signing experience of Seed Vault Wallet. They love having access to all of the great apps on Solana, anywhere from the Solana dApp Store. And they love the hardware. They love having a device that's just a joy to hold and a joy to use. So 2025 really has been a breakthrough year for us. And that's in no small part due to the users and developers who are really making this ecosystem go. But as we look into 2026, we really want to keep that momentum going, and not just keep it going, but accelerate it. We want more users, we want more developers, and of course, we want more hardware partners. With Seeker season in full swing, we've seen over 225 dApps launch in the Solana dApp Store. And amongst them, we've seen more than 1.8 billion in transaction volume in just a few short months. So if you're an established Solana team who's just looking to scale your user base even further, or a team still in search of product market fit, or a brand new team shipping your first product, Seeker really is the most obvious launchpad in crypto to get off the ground. Moonwalk Fitness, for example, has seen over 27,000 downloads since launching on Seeker, and has hit all-time highs in daily active usage. Perenna has seen a third of its overall user base come from Seekers, and those users collectively hold over 13 million in assets on the protocol. And Crypto Fantasy League was a team that submitted to the first Solana Mobile Hackathon, and in a matter of weeks went from submission to top featured app in the dApp Store, and thousands of downloads. So clearly this flywheel, this idea of developers bringing on users, bringing on developers, is in full swing. But the next step for us is expanding to additional hardware. So we're excited to be working with our partner in FX Tech to bring the Solana mobile platform to more devices. Together, we're going to start with one of the most important problem spaces in tackling the hardware market, which is the chipset. So alongside FX Tech, we'll be working closely with MediaTek and its TEE partner Trustonic to package up the whole Solana mobile stack and make it available on additional Android devices. This is a pretty big deal. For those who maybe don't know as much about the Android market or the smartphone market, MediaTek controls or ships about 46 to 50% of all Android devices globally. So that's like 2 billion phones each year. And for us, getting the opportunity to bring the Solana mobile stack to MediaTek's hardware environment is a pretty clear signal to the industry that mobile and crypto are really ready to take that next step together. So we're excited to be working with those partners. We're in the process of building out these prototypes. And in parallel, we're having conversations and negotiations with some of the world's largest hardware manufacturers about bringing the power of Solana to their devices and their users around the world. This next phase is really how we go from a Solana first kind of grassroots project to something much, much, much bigger, one that competes with the existing mobile giants kind of on their ground, but on crypto's terms. But as we scale, it's really important that Solana Mobile doesn't just kind of stay the central gatekeeper. If we just build the same thing, but it's a little crypto friendly, it's just another walled garden. That simply doesn't work. So back at Accelerate, we announced what we call TPIN. To put it simply, TPIN is just a different network architecture that brings phones and users and hardware manufacturers all in one place. But rather than having one central authority guarantee trust and security and safety, We bring together new novel technology and a network of what we call guardians to ensure that trust and safety. The best way to think about guardians is kind of like validators on the Solana network, but instead of validating transactions, our guardians are responsible for ensuring that apps aren't malicious, that devices haven't been compromised, and that the overall mechanics and integrity of our ecosystem can continue. And I'm thrilled to announce that Helios, Double Zero, Anza, Triton, and Jito have committed to launching as our first guardians in 2026. And not only that, we want to expand beyond this group. So if you're out in the audience or listening at home and are interested in helping us secure this growing ecosystem, please reach out to our team. We'd love to have you. So we've got an architecture coming together. Things are opening up, but we need a way to coordinate. An open platform really does need open incentives. If we think about one of the things that makes crypto great, it's the idea that you can both decentralize and align incentives across multiple parties who might have totally different motivations. And that's what we're building, right? Our ecosystem is made up of a bunch of independent parties, whether it's users who want access to the latest and greatest apps, or developers who want distribution and want the opportunity to monetize their product, or hardware manufacturers who just want to build and ship hardware. They want to differentiate and they want to create network effects. We have to find a way to align the incentives of three totally independent groups of people who are all sort of participating in the same ecosystem. And the launch of SKR gives us that opportunity. So when SKR launches, it is that coordination mechanism. It's the way we keep all of these independent ecosystem participants on the same page. And not only that, but as this ecosystem continues to scale, SKR ensures that value flows back to the community. It really is the fuel that keeps that flywheel spinning. And we think our token distribution tells you everything you need to know kind of about how we're thinking about this. We've earmarked 30% for community airdrops, 10% has been reserved for future community treasury proposals, and 25% has been set aside for a growth and partnerships fund that will go directly into the hands of DApp and hardware builders who are going to help us scale. That builder community is super important to us. We wouldn't be here without them. We want to give them the support that they need, whether it's resources or tooling or access. And so we're expanding the Solana Mobile Builder Grants Program. Whether you're building infrastructure or tooling, or you're building the next great consumer DApp, we want to help. We want to provide that funding. So please head to solanamobile.com/grants and apply now. But beyond grants, we've also committed to hackathons. Last year we launched our first hackathon, and the results have been tremendous. We've seen tons of teams launch their first products, find adoption. And so we're excited to announce that we'll have our second hackathon in Q1 of 2026. And the hackathons, in addition to having prize winnings and having your name out on Twitter, there's a lot that comes with that. There's featured DApp store placement. There's all the co-marketing and mind share that we're able to help these teams secure. But there's also access to our team. We've got a team of experts, technical experts, marketing experts, operational experts, and we're excited to bring access to those resources and our top phone salesman, Anatoly Yakovenko, to hackathon winners. Phones are how people connect to the world, and crypto is increasingly becoming how value moves through it. Those two things, they belong together, not apart. And in 2025, we've taken a very critical step on that path. We've got 150,000 devices, we've got hundreds of dApps, and we've got billions in transaction volume. There's a very obvious road ahead for global scale. But that's been made real by everyone who's a part of the community. The users and developers, they've really made this possible. So a huge thank you to everybody who's been a part of us so far. If you're not one of those people, if you're somebody who bought a phone that we sent to and it's sitting in a drawer somewhere, I'm not exactly sure what you're waiting for, but please turn it on. I promise you're missing out. Activate your phone, claim your Genesis token. And if you're not one of those people, if you're still waiting, head to solanamobile.com. We would love to sell you a Seeker, or swing by our booth and try and win one. SKR is going to launch in January. Guardians will be coming online in 2026, and we'll have many new opportunities to scale through new hardware partners. So 2025 for us really has been a year where we proved that Web3 and mobile belong together. And 2026 is when Solana Mobile becomes something truly inevitable. Thank you.